So it's going to be a 15 minutes. It's the super sprint weekend for the Sports 1000 Championship. We've had one 15-minute race already. There's 2 more this afternoon. Race gets underway, and it's a yellow flag because, again, Michael Roots does not get off the grid at all well. He fluffed the start yesterday as well, so there must be a problem with the car, I should think. But the leaders are all heading down towards Hatchett's for the first time. It's Richard Webb that's got the lead. Paul Smith has gone very wide. That's unfortunate. That's the invitation class car being driven by David Watson, number 85. He went pretty deep at Hatchett's as well, Josh.
Yeah, so the order's in a bit different than what we might have expected. That car that's gone spinning off out of shot, that was Paul Smith, so he's been off twice now in a couple of corners really there, so that's not gone well at all after talking up Paul Smith's chances. But there is Richard Webb, he's certainly the leader. Second is Ryan Yarrow, the former champion. Third is Dan Clues, who's come through there from 5th on the grid. He's getting more and more experience in this car, coming from the single-seater F1000 Championship that runs with the 750 Motor Club. But there is Richard Webb. These cars so quick, we're already at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what lap times they do in dry conditions. The record is a 58.97 to Matt Higginson. That was set 9 years ago. So we'll see if that's been, pretty sure it probably will be actually, as they head round Hatchett's for the second time then. And it's actually pretty close, isn't it, between Richard Webb and the reigning champion, the double champion in fact, Ryan Yarrow in second position.
Yeah, that's right. So Ryan Yarrow's taken it to Richard Webb, and he's forced Webb into a mistake. Who's gone off the road? That's the first mistake I think we've seen from him all season long. This in the 6th round of the championship, and it's the first time anybody else has led a race, I think.
That's right.
So
yeah.
it's Ryan Yarrow that leads, and it's not just him that's right around Richard Webb, because Dan Clues is there in 3rd place, and then Paul Rogers, who's returning to the championship this year, is there in P4. So this is a really interesting start to the race.
Yeah, Paul Smith came across the line 15th at the end of lap 1 after his very eventful first lap of the race. We'll see where he can climb up to. Rich Miles was up to 6th at the end of the first lap as well, but already at the end of lap 2, first flying lap, and it's Ryan Yarrow that's leading therefore, and that was a 1 minute 00.79, so we're not down to lap record pace just yet, as up the inside of Richard Webb goes Dan Clues at Hatchett's hairpin. So Richard Webb down to 3rd place. Is he just ahead of Paul Rogers? Yeah,
this is most unusual, not in the form book of the season at this point. So they're making their way through the 3rd lap, the fastest lap with Rogers actually. So he's going really well here. Webb's already got back past Clues. Not quite sure how he made that work, but he has done that. So he's back into 2nd place, is Richard Webb, back ahead of Dan Clues, who, as I was saying, getting more used to in sports car racing now from the single-seater racing that he also competes in, and going really well here at the start of this race at Pembrey. Looks like Richard Miles hasn't made it to the end of the 2nd lap, I'm afraid. So it looks like he's out. Here they come then through Honda curve. The car's really bouncing over the bumps here. You don't really see that in any of the other formulas, but these low downforce type cars, low sports cars, you really see the cars over the bumps. And there is Richard Webb into the Hatchett's hairpin with Dan Clues and with Paul Rogers right behind.
And yeah, Rich Miles now in the pit lane beneath us, as we said, didn't get beyond the end of the first lap of the race. So that's sad for him. Hopefully his car will be fixed for race 2 or of the day, race 3 of the weekend. So we've now got Richard Webb, the championship sponsor, the man behind RLM, now pursuing the reigning champion Ryan Yarrow in the lead once again. Meanwhile, Dan Clues has got Paul Rogers to try to fend off, and Paul Rogers making his return to the championship. This season he's raced a number of different cars down the year, but I think as he's getting used to this this latest car that he's driven, the Spire, then he's getting quicker all the time.
And Colin Chapman is going right with them. But I think I just saw from the corner shot there, Richard Webb is right with Ryan Yarrow for the lead. Here they come out of the Honda curve, the top 2 together, and Ryan Yarrow has a big moment. There's Miles in the pit lane, but there are the leaders across the line, absolutely together now, as Richard Webb goes back after Ryan Yarrow, who made a good start to this race. But now Richard Webb is putting the pressure on. Here they go through the hairpin. He's just done the fastest lap. He's got under a minute finally, a 59.54. So he's got 6 tenths of a second or so to find on the lap record that you mentioned with Matt Higginson from nearly a decade ago now. And there's Webb over the inside, sideways, and now Ryan Yarrow's going to have a lot of pressure put on him. And Webb there, he's sideways as well, so they're absolutely on the edge. And now Webb finds space. I didn't expect that. He outbraked himself here, though.
Yes, he has. He went through on the inside briefly at Brooklands hairpin, but had to concede the place back to Ryan Yarrow, I should say, almost immediately then. So Ryan Yarrow in that number 1 car, leading the race. The man from the north of England, from Bury, the electrical engineer, loves racing in Sports 1000, so enthusiastic about it. He's done some development work on this car himself, the ex-Billy Oldbone car, but this car for Richard Webb, that's a fresh build car, isn't it? That one that Richard Webb's got for this season. Yeah,
it looks to me like it's got a little bits of downforce or little bits put onto it to create ground force when you see the cars up close, so it's a little bit more developed. Is Yarrow out wide here? No, I think he's okay as they come through the Senna S. It's so quick, these cars, through this part of the circuit. Well, pretty much all the way around the circuit, it's really quick, but particularly around here, you can see the drivers working at the cars. They're sliding around a lot, these cars that do run on treaded tyres, and as you can see, they've got no wings, so all the downforce that is created is really from underneath the cars. They've got little sort of winglets on the back of the cars, but nothing too drastic, but they are so quick. They're affordable cars as well for the speed that they go, and they have some great racing, as we see here. Top 2 together across the line.
Yep, so that is the end of lap number 6 of the race, and 2/10 between them as they go down to Hatchett's, less than that. Webb trying to get his car up on the inside of Yarrow. He takes the very tight line there. He's going to have the inside line for Spitfires, but then the outside line for DeBenny, and Ryan Yarrow keeps him at bay there, I think. Yes, he does. So it's the Ryan Yarrow Spy with the blue livery ahead of the orangey red livery of the Richard Webb Spy that's yet to be beaten this season, we remind you. And he's really hustling hard, isn't he, to try and get past Ryan Yarrow. He's pushing and pushing and pushing, and you do wonder if that might at some point lead to a mistake.
Yeah, you wonder if the car is actually set up right, don't you? Because it is moving around a lot. We said the cars on treaded tyres and so forth, so they do move around more than a winged car on slicks, but it does seem to me that for dry conditions, Richard Webb's car's moving around more than you'd expect.
Yeah.
But we've mentioned the Pembrey circuit, maybe not as smooth as some of the others, so therefore the cars are bouncing over some of the bumps here, and it's really exciting to watch because of that. And now Richard Webb is down the inside into Hatchett's. He's up late on the brake. Can he get the car stopped and turned in? He can. Can Ryan Yarrow, though, come back on the exit of the corner? He tries his best, but he can't do it this time, no. So here's Richard Webb taking the lead then at the start of lap number 8.
Yeah, so Richard Webb's had to work hard to get there. He's possibly, as you say, Josh, battling with the car a little bit because it's not set up perhaps quite right. Of course, it was wet running that they had yesterday, dry running today, so maybe any setup changes that they made, they've not quite gone in the right direction. That may well be something that they will learn from for the final race of the weekend later on this afternoon. But it's Richard Webb back into the lead now from Ryan Yarrow in second place. It's still 43, Paul Rogers in third place, number 8 Dan Clew is in fourth, Colin Chapman number 63 is in fifth position, and Michael Roots number 2 rounds out the top 6.
He's right with them, isn't he, Michael Roots, in the second group, so perhaps we might be able to have a look at that in a moment. Now the top 2 are spreading out, and it's actually a change for third since we saw them last, because it's Paul Rogers ahead of Dan Cluse. Here they are. Cluzo is fighting back in the Mattel. He's going the inside. He breaks really late. He's alongside Rogers, who has to give him room. They are absolutely level. Are they almost leaning on one another there? And Dan Cluse on the inside line as they go through Spitfires is back ahead there of Dan Cluse. But here you can see behind them, Colin Chapman and Michael Roots are right there. So it's a 4-way battle for P3.
Yeah, Michael Roots got back to 5th place yesterday after his dodgy start. He's in 6th place at the moment. He's trying to make a move. Well, he is making a move up the inside of Colin Chapman at Senna, S's, but that didn't really work out. I thought it was going to, actually, but it didn't, so he'll have to plan and plot something else, Michael Roots, in that Mattel Cars run machine, chasing after the privateer Colin Chapman in his ex-Richard Morris Spire.
So here they come, down towards Honda curve that completes the lap. We've still got 6 minutes on the clock. We're completing the 9th lap of this, the 6th round of the RLM racing Sports 1000 Championship for 2022, and Richard Webb just sets the fastest lap of the race. The race leader at 59.52, so slightly lowers his best from earlier, and he's pulled out a 1.7 second margin over Ryan Yarrow. And through next comes the third place battle, still headed by Dan Cleves.
Paul Smith up to ninth position now after his eventful opening lap, and he is chasing after Phil Hutchins and Jonathan McGill. So a 7th place on the card for Paul Smith. Just a shot there of Dave Watson. And Josh, he's in the invitation class car this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. He's out there in the MK Indy, which here it is, and into Hatchets that Dave Watson is aboard, or first time he's driven it this weekend. But it's a front engine 7 type car, a bit like what the RGB Championship used to have, front engine cars, but it's running the bigger engine, the 1340cc 200 brake horsepower RLM tuned engine, and we're expecting, I think, to see 2 of these cars out at the next round, and then going forward more of them coming out is the plan. And it's great to have the front engine element back into the championship. But Ian, you're spotting some important things going on up front.
Yeah, Richard Webb's got a 5-second penalty, so that's for exceeding track limits. He's had to work so hard to get into the lead of the race, having lost it to Ryan Yarrow. But now he's going to have to try and pull out a 5-second margin.
And you were mentioning, Ian, when we saw the car sliding around, you wondered if that might force him into a mistake. Well, it's not forced him off the circuit as such, it's lost him time. It's forced him to run out wide, perhaps, and exceed those track limits, like you say, more times than he should have done. Here's Webb. So he's leading on the road by 2 seconds, but he's actually not leading the race on sort of net positions.
That looked like more than 2 seconds, though, on that shot. They're coming through to complete lap number 11 now of this race, with just under 4 minutes to go. That looks and feels like more than 2 seconds now. What's it say on our time screen? It's 2.46. It's got out another 4/10, but he's going to have to pull out another 2.5 seconds in the remaining probably 4 laps of this race. Yeah,
I think that's going to be the case. So he's got his work cut out here. He's still second on combined results kind of thing. But there he is. He's still flinging the car around. Hopefully for his sake, he's seen that penalty board that's been shown out to him, so he knows he's got to keep pushing on within the track limits, of course, and try and build out a 5-second gap. But may we see a different winner in the result sheets this season then. So as it stands, Ryan Yarrow leads by 2.5 seconds over Richard Webb. This battle is a real battle on the road. For third position, Dan Cleves versus Paul Rogers. Behind them, Michael Roots has got himself up ahead of Colin Chapman, I noticed. So he's back into 5th, just like he was yesterday.
Absolutely right, and Chapman just falling away a little bit from this group, but here's Clues in 3rd position at the moment, and he's getting quicker, I think, as he gets some more and more experience in the Sports 1000s.
Change for 7th here, Ian, as Paul Smith makes his way past Jonathan McGill. McGill tries to fight back, can't do that. So Smith is into 7th for 3rd. A change into Hatchets as Paul Rogers gets himself up the inside of Dan Cleves. So these two have changed positions a few times during the course of this race. Are they both looking for their first podium as well this year?
I was just going to say Dan Cleves has yet to have a podium, and he might not do yet. Paul Rogers, he has not been on the podium either as yet, but he has had podiums in the past in Sports 1000 and race wins indeed in the past as well.
And of course Michael Roots would quite like to get into one of those positions as well, because he's just behind them, working his way up after those problems early on during the course of this race. Well, getting off the line was his real issue, and now he's right there behind Cleves. He pops out of the toe, he's up the inside here into Carter's curve, but he can't make that stick. Up next is Honda. These cars are so quick through here, not really an overtaking opportunity. It's all about being late on the brakes down into turn 1. 2 laps to go.
4.27 seconds is now the lead for Richard Webb, so he's within 7/10 now of overturning that 5-second penalty that he's got. So this could be on, I think, for him to do that now. It wasn't looking like he might do, but he had a good last lap there. He pulled out 1.6 seconds, no, so 1.3 seconds on Yarrow that lap. Continuing to focus on this battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th though. Paul Rogers number 43, Dan Cleves number 8, Michael Roots number 2. It could still be any one of these 3 drivers, I think, to claim that final podium position. Roots has had a couple of 2nd place finishes so far this year, and he was pretty successful during the course of last season as well when he was the runner-up in the championship. But as you say, Rogers and Cleves both looking for their first top 3 finish of the season.
Yep, and they've got just 1 lap to go at the end of this one as the leaders come across the line. These guys turn into Honda curve with Rogers still there, ahead of Clues after that move he made. Leaders across the line, gap 4.7 seconds, so it's going to be all on the timing screens. Who's going to win this? Richard Webb has to pull out a few more tenths of a second if he's going to keep this clear winning streak he's got going on this year.
Paul Smith is up to 7th place now, so he's got ahead of Jonathan McGill. He's not going to catch the top 6 though, so what lap times has Paul Smith been doing? Actually, he's been doing 59.96. It's one of only 4 drivers to go below a minute. Richard Webb, Ryan Yarrow and Michael Roots being the others, and that's probably a fair reflection of who's looked the quickest and the most racy during the course of this race. But here comes Ryan Yarrow, Richard Webb through Carter's again. That's up to Hond. Here he is out of the corner.
Checkered flag.
And the checkered flag has gone out. It was Richard Webb then that did take the victory in the end by, or did he? Did he? Yes, he did. 5.62 seconds. So Richard Webb takes the victory. 5.62 seconds, the advantage over Ryan Yarrow, so 0.62 seconds once that penalty is applied. 43, Paul Rogers takes 3rd place. Dan Clues, number 8, takes 4th position. 5th is number 2, Michael Root. 6th to number 63, Colin Chapman. And then gap back to Paul Smith, who takes 7th in number 14. 8th was 72, Jonathan McGill. 9th, 21, Phil Hutchins. And Carl Austin rounding out the top 10. So it was only right in the final lap there did Richard Webb pull out enough time to get the advantage over Ryan Yarrow.
Yes, so that's a very important final lap speed that Richard Webb had in the 59s. Let's take a look at these provisional results.
Yes, so Richard Webb it is that will get the verdict in car number 88 in the Spire. From 2nd to number 1, Ryan Yarrow. 3rd place getting in the way of number 43, Paul Rogers, so he gets his first podium since his Sports 1000 comeback. 4th place to number 8, Dan Clues. In 5th place, number 2, Michael Roots. So a repeat of his result from yesterday. 6th to number 63, Colin Chapman. Then Paul Smith bounced back after 2 offs on the opening lap to take 7th place in car number 14. In 8th place, it was number 72, Jonathan McGill. 9th to number 21, Phil Hutchins. And Carl Austin rounding out the top 10 in car 44. Then Ian Hutchinson, number 9, was 11th. James Foley, 71, was 12th. The guest class car, David Watson, was 13th. Ahead of Daniel Ashby and Paul Sawyer, with Rich Miles joining Paul Sawyer amongst the retirements from that race. So still plenty to come here at Pembrey this afternoon. We've got the second of our 3 Clio races today coming up next. Then we've got Low Cost Type R Trophy, the 116 Trophy, then Marble Sports 1000 and Clios to round out the day here on the South Wales coast. We'll have hopefully a word with our race winner though, Robert Webb, in just a moment. Richard Webb even. He's down there with Johnny Palmer.
Back in the pit lane, and we have a top 3, which is, as it was presented itself on the grid itself, on the race finish I should say, but a narrower victory in the end for Richard Webb than he was expecting. What I'm interested to know is how much of the penalty was communicated to him mid-race, and there's only one man to ask about that. First of all, Richard, victory garland for you. You seem to be pushing on there despite dominating the race. Was anybody able to communicate to you that it had a 5-second penalty?
I did see it on the board that had a 5-second penalty. On top of that, we've got a horrendous misfire in the left-handers for some reason. Yeah, the car, it was just a different car to what we tested on Friday. So yeah, but I have to say, probably one of the most enjoyable races with Ryan pushing me right from the start. We got the job done. The lads did a great job on the pit board telling me to push, so I knew I just had to extend that gap past 5 seconds, and we just managed to pull it off.
5.62 it was at the flag, so you basically won it by 0.6 of a second.
A win's a win, that's all we needed.
And this misfire, is that going to be a concern moving forward?
I think Ryan put sugar in my tank before I went out, so I imagine that's what's happened.
Sabotage, it has to be.
Absolutely.
Well done on a very close victory in the end. Where's Ryan gone from the number 1 car? Ryan, I speak to someone who wins a race narrowly. You've lost it very narrowly by 0.6 of a second because of Richard's penalty.
Yeah, I knew he had a penalty, but kind of the more I tried, the worse it went. I made a few changes that kind of worked early on, but then kind of overworked the tyres. So kind of by the midpoint, it went dead greasy. So like a lot of my fastest laps were like really early on. But it was just nice to actually be more in the mix and giving him a run for his money, to be honest. Because I mean, for a fat northerner, it's not too bad.
You're doing yourself down. You did very well. Congratulations on second place.
Thanks.
So we move forward now with the K-Tech Racing Clio Sport Championship for a sprint race for them.